can save on your electricity cost. So this was the installation we had done for a Century Ply about a year ago. Century Ply is a well-known ply and laminate manufacturing company having 5 factories all over the country. They have one factory in Joka, so we did it for their Joka plant. And you can see how much of power they have generated over the last 1 year. So this is the monthly savings what Century Ply is doing. So as I discussed that you can save a lot of your electricity bill through this solar energy. Now, as I opened a question, can solar take the base load? No, solar alone itself cannot take the base load. Because solar is unpredictable. You don't know tomorrow there will be sunshine or not. Maybe next 1 hour down the line there will be full radiation or not. It is unpredictable. So what we need to do to take the base load, we have to couple with it battery. Battery can be a lead acid battery, it can be a lithium battery, it can be a NiCad battery, a battery to suit the requirement. And you see, we have demonstrated in the picture you can see is a picture of a BESS application in Hosur, one of our battery manufacturing facility, where we have a solar plant of 3 megawatt, and we have synchronized that 3 megawatt plant with a BESS. In this type of scenario, you don't need a thermal power plant to give you that backup power or that base load power for running a solar power plant. You can run your own solar power plant with BESS systems, and end of the day, you can be free from the grid. So why do you install a BESS? So it can take care of your fluctuations in load, it can give you a base load, it can maximize demand requirement, it can do tariff, peak shifting things like tariff changings, bus voltage stabilization and frequency stabilizations. So these are the few areas where BESS can be categorized. Basically, electricity supply, grid operations, transmission infrastructure, and distribution infrastructure, and end user. So I will just take you through a simulation. Say you have a solar power plant on your rooftop, and you are generating power during the day. So 9 a.m. to 6 a.m., the tariff is 7 rupees, and you are using it for in the same time. But if you have a BESS, you can store this power into the BESS and use it during your peak hours. What is the peak hours? 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. is the peak hours, and again 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. is the peak hours. So you can, these peak hours, you can discharge the BESS and you get more out of your solar systems. Or you can do charging during the off-peak hours, like 10 p.m. to 6 p.m. You can charge the BESS and use the same power to run your peak load or share your peak load. So this is the graph how it works. So when the power is cheap, you charge the battery, and when the power is costly, you discharge the BESS into the grid and you use that power. So this is the savings you do. This is a simulated savings from Century Ply. If Century Ply would have put a BESS system over there and stored the power and used the power during peak hours, the blue graph shows that savings, additional savings over solar. And if Century Ply was charging the BESS during the off-peak hours and using that power to power their factory in peak hours, so red graph shows how much additional savings they are going to do. So these are the other areas, service areas where MSME companies can get into. It is the operation and maintenance, because these plants are now revenue generating plants, because if you generate power, then only you get the money. You can put up a factory for PV recycling, because a lot of PV are getting degraded now because they have completed their years of operations. So you can be a PV recycling facility. You can do testing facility for equipments to be installed or installed in PV power plants. Like there are hotspot, people are doing survey of hotspots of solar modules through drone and this type of applications. You can do a consulting, a risk assessment service. And again, another interesting area, energy forecasting. That is, you forecast, is the requirement of the SLDC to give forecast of the power you are going to generate throughout the day, and this has to be very correct. So this also is a very big area where small companies can get into energy forecasting. I think I have covered most of my area, and if you have any questions, we can take it up after the question session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ganguly. You are right dot on the time. Mr. Ganguly is the CEO of Chloride Power Systems and Solutions Limited in India. The next speaker of the session is Mr. Jagdish Gulati. He is the President of Indian Leather Products Association, ILPA. Mr. Gulati.
Thank you. Very good afternoon to dignitaries and on dais and ladies and gentlemen. And as president of Indian Leather Product Association, which leather industry represent West Bengal very strongly from last 10 years. And people here, we have a very big setup in the Bantala, you must have heard about. We have a 539 tanneries and 438 leather goods manufacturer and 320 about shoe manufacture, all not in the Bantala, but it's surrounding Calcutta. So leather industry, the history of leather industry started. It is in 1948 that we have a first Central Research Leather Institute we set up, where we started to create the value addition of the leather industry and foreign earner for that one. Then we started with the export of the leather product, means add-on product is like out of leather we are manufacturing handbags, accessories, wallet, bags, shoes. So for that, we are the third foreign earners for the West Bengal for the export of our product. So basically, just I want to tell you the leather industry, and we are doing value added, plus we have a generation, the employment, which is the leather goods manufacturers, we have a employment generation is more than 70%. So just, and also the West Bengal is the 30% share of the export from all over India. So I just like to make main point of my talking is why the leather industry has come up in West Bengal very strongly. Because we have source of raw material, we have labor force, we have accessories supply. Means most of this accessory supply, labor force, this all are very hardworking, and they are really come up with our requirement with the small manufacturer. They started and now they become a big factory. That example, as I was talking about the Bantala, there's a one factory which we have hiring around more than 5,000 people. So, and one is 1,500. Like this, the way we are set up, and also, as Mr. Das told, we all big brand, like you name it, Armani, Hugo Boss, Gucci, he buy the parts of the accessories, then Coach, all big brand, they are now buying from Calcutta. So still people doesn't know, but all brands are, more and more brands are coming. I just give you example, you must be, these are Michael Kors, that also they start buying from here. So what leather industry is come up in very high on, and especially the West Bengal and especially the West Bengal government and MSME is supporting so much, which can help, which helping industry, and also the small manufacturer. I know one of manufacturer who was 10 years ago, you must know the brand is also have maybe 50 shops now, which is started from here, and he reached in the very high-end product, and he has set up in Italy, Australia, London, and Paris. They open their own shops there, and from all manufacturing out of leather, this Bantala. So what I mean to say, that our leather industry has gone very high, and it will be going to be high, and that all had supported by MSME and West Bengal government and the people of the West Bengal. So I just want to give you a little focus on this one. If anything information about leather industry want to know or somebody want to start, we have our organization called Indian Leather Product Association, which we have 160 member, means 160 manufacturers there who undercover this ILPA. And they have activity, ILPA has activities to help the small exporter who is connected with the MSME. We help him how to set up a factory, and ILPA has a common facilities center in Bantalla. When a small exporter want to start the business and he has no capacity to hire the pattern master or hire designer, which we have in our common facility center called Freya, where we have all kind of a machinery. We have a pattern master, so small exporter come there and they make samples and go to the abroad and get the order, and when he bigger, he make his own factory. So there the ILPA roles come, and he support to set up a factory, to give a support in the custom, means any problem come in a custom, any government connected, MSME, so all the ILPA roles play, where which, with the help of MSME. You know, MSME is helping a lot. Like, and also we promote our product with our lot of 4 or 5 events we do, which we did once events we did in January 28 or 29. That's called the BSS, Buyer Seller Summit, where we call around 40 international buyer and 20 Indian buying houses. Means Indian buying houses is the brand who has a set up office in Delhi, Bangalore, and Chennai. And we call them, and we around here, around 27 participant exporter was there, and we did it in ITC. So we bring business more than $10 million. And we didn't, because why we did this thing, to travel is a difficult, so we want international buyer to come to Calcutta and show, to see our product. And after seeing the product, they visit the factory. So this all ILPA do on behalf of small exporter and MSME. So what I want to tell any small person or any want to start the business of leather export, they don't need the much big capital. It is a very small capital, and all facilities we give from our this facility center, which is in the Bantalla. And the MSCM and the West Bengal government is supporting a lot, and they're giving a lot of facilities to our India, the Bantalla. And you must have heard about that, the tanneries are increasing from the north and south. A lot of big manufacturer and big exporter are coming to Calcutta. So this Calcutta will be and you know, whole Bantalla is cover 1,100 acres, and is one of the biggest Asia leather complex, and well-organized complex and clean. So that all helped our industry to develop, and I hope anybody want to in touch with the ILPA to start or to start the business, please contact an ILPA and we will help you out. Thank you very much. Thank you, and I hope any help you need it. Thank you. Is all right?
Fantastic. Well, both speakers very eloquently within 10 minutes gave their presentation. Both solar power as well as leather goods, they depend upon the MSMEs. So I am confident that a lot of MSMEs present here can get immensely benefited by these two gentlemen. So once again, I thank these distinguished speakers at the dais, and thus with this, I end this particular session of today's program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I request Dr. Das to present a token of appreciation to Mr. Shamujjal Ganguly, please. Dr. Das, please. Sir. Sorry. Dr. Das to Mr. Shamujjal Ganguly, please. Now, may I request Mr. Sanjay Behra, sir, please come. Nice. I request Mr. Behra to present token of appreciation Dr. Das, our session moderator. With this, we end our session on leadership. Now we have our second last session, which is on improving productivity, ways and challenges for MSMEs. We have the moderator, Mr. Sanjay S. Behra, Head Marketing, Tata Steel Limited, and senior member of our committee. Then we have our panelist, Dr. Suryakant Pal. He is the professor in charge, Center of Excellence of IIT Kharagpur. Mr. Sanjay Thakurtha, industry leader for manufacturing, metals and mining, IBM India. Mr. Shubhra Majumdar, senior technical expert of the UNDP. Mr. Dipankar Biswas, senior management consultant and basically an independent consultant. And last but not the least, Ms. Chandrima Shaha. He's the CEO of S. Shah & Company and director of S. Shah Steel Private Limited. I request the moderator to please come on the dais, please, Mr. S. Behra. May I request on dais Dr. Suryakant Pal of IIT Kharagpur, Mr. Sanjay Thakurtha of IBM India. Mr. Sanjay Thakurtha of IBM India, please. Mr. Shubhra Majumdar of UNDP. Mr. Dipankar Biswas and Ms. Chandrima Shaha. I hope all the panelists are here. Ms. Chandrima Shaha, yes, please come. May I request Mr. S. Behra to take the proceedings forward, sir?
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished panelists, a very good evening. Actually, today is a very tedious session since morning, and this being the last session, it is basically very difficult to engage the audience. So our panelists will have a very tough time. And the BCCI has given a diktat that all this thing has to be completed within 10 to 15 minutes max. So our panelists, they have done a lot of preparation, but we need to complete this thing. As you know, this MSME forms the backbone of Indian economy. They contribute to close to 31% of our GDP, and also 45% of Indian exports is from MSME sector. They are the second largest employer after agriculture in the country. So they play a very critical role. However, our international share, international trade from MSME is not that much as compared to developed economy like Germany, Korea, Japan, or China. So definitely somewhere something we are missing. Whatever exports we do, apart from service sector, in manufacturing, these are basically not very high-tech equipment, what our counterparts in the Western countries do. So it is very important for MSME sector how to improve the efficiency without compromising any quality and benchmarking the product and quality services with the best in the world, so that they will help us in reaching the $5 trillion economy by 2030. So my request, without losing time, Dr. Suryakant Pal, Professor in charge, Center for Excellence for Advanced Manufacturing, IIT KGP, to talk about the digital challenges. We hear a lot about IoTs,